If you're struggling to gather pain in your closing calls, listen up. Because as a closer, you do know that one of the biggest parts of a sales call and the big thing that actually closes people is running a perfect discovery. And a big chunk of the actual discovery is talking about their current situation, talking about what's happening right now, quote unquote, their pain. And a lot of closers, what they say is like, oh, my prospects, they don't open up to me. Oh, my prospects are always vague. And they always just blame the prospect for not answering the questions. When you actually look at it, prospects haven't been trained on how to be good prospects. So that's where you, the closer, you have to know how to properly ask questions, how to probe deeper in order for you to get actual deeper answers. So in this video, it's me taking one of my management closers through an actual training on how to dig deeper. It's well over 30 minutes filled with juicy information. So without further ado, let's get into it.
So we're just going to, I'm not even going to put on like a timer on it or something. I'm just going to, as I mentioned, if I see a path where you could have went a bit different or you could have like deeper into something, I'll stop you, or something that like I'll just tell you how, and like we'll run it back, you'll implement that thing, and we'll just like keep on moving forward like that. So
Yeah.
whenever you are ready, and feel free to ask your opening question.
So Daniel, what is the biggest reason that you're trying to get into YouTube automation right now?
Yeah, I mean, I want to make more money, obviously, and, you know, work a little less, maybe. Making money online has been something that I want to explore more for, like, I've been wanting to explore more. And yeah, I just want to make more.
Okay. I mean, like, when you mentioned making more money, how does that look like for you specifically?
What I would have done, this is an exact thing that you always have to do, but I always do it. Throw in a summary after the opening question, because the opening question is like they give you the juiciest information that you'll be using for the rest of the call, basically. So it's like, okay, so you mentioned that you want to make more money and you want to work a little less, and you've been exploring and you've wanted to explore on more ways on how to actually make money online, and just kind of like summarize the things that the person actually said. That's why I have to like note down things. It doesn't have to be like specific, like you're writing a whole paragraph, but it's like bullet points that'll help you.
Yeah.
You can use as anchor points and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that, because like it helps you reinforce information in your mind, and it also shows them that you're listening. You're an expert, right?
Okay. Okay, man. So just to be clear, you're looking to make more money, right? And you're looking to be able to work less as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And what is it you do for work?
I have a transportation company.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
For the last 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And what do the hours look like?
Yeah, so I already...
What I would do here, firstly, kind of dig into the thing that the person mentioned first. Because typically, like the thing that the person mentions first is the biggest thing for him, typically, but sometimes it could be the wrong case. So ask about, okay, when you say, like the person said he wants to make more money, right? It means that you have to gather data around the money part and say it contextually. Okay, so you mentioned you want to make more money. And I mean, if you're working as a like transporter, like how much do you bring in on a monthly basis? And how, and then, you know, you kind of dig deeper into that, which you want to see how you do.
Okay. Yeah, because the way I was going to go was like, okay, bring it back and be like, okay, what's caused you to feel like you're not able to do that from what you're doing at the moment with the job? But do you feel like that way is a better way, just to get context straight away on what he says?
I always would say, I always get context, because like the more context you give, the more you're on the ball, the person can't slip through the cracks. It's always like you show that, you know, fuck, I'm an expert, I'm picking things up, I'm going to understand really what's going on. So now with you making, like with you being able to save up about $500 every single month after paying your expenses, what got you looking to make more money? Imagine that question instead of like, oh, what got you looking to make more money? Now I have the full picture, right?
So, okay, so when he mentioned more money, work less, you would have asked, okay, like what? Something, I can't remember the question you asked.
So you mentioned you want to make more money. I'm curious, how much do you bring in on a monthly basis?
Okay. So Daniel, you mentioned that you want to make more money. I'm curious, how much do you bring on a monthly basis?
Around $4,000. Sometimes I hit 6, but now it's like a slower season. So I would say around 5K on average.
Okay. Well,
This is also, I don't want to be stopping after every question, but
No,
like
it's
with this,
good
what I
to-
want to do, whenever a person doesn't give you a specific answer, because like even in the review I mentioned, specifics are really, really important. Okay, so you mentioned it's 4, sometimes 5, sometimes 6. So just for me to get the full picture here, how much did you make last month specifically? And just for me to like truly understand it more, what about the month before? And just to get 3 months to truly see the average, what about the like the month before that too? So like it'll show, okay, I made 4K, 5K, 5K, right? Okay, so is it fair to say that the average is this, right? It'll allow you to get more specifics.
Tie down, right? It's like
Okay. Okay, yeah, man. So like, how much did you make last month? Just so I can really understand the specifics.
yeah, last month was 4.5.
Okay, how about the month before that?
That one was a bit slower. I made around, yeah, I think it was 3.8 or something, almost 4. 3.8, 3.9.
Okay, so we're roughly sitting around 4K then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see you got the specifics. He said 5K, but when you got the specifics, you see that the average, it's all about 4K, which it's kind of like you're holding up the truth to the person. And you can also preface something like, you mentioned you have these slower seasons and these slower seasons and these actual like better seasons. Because right now, are you in your slow or are you in your, good season? Oh, you said slow. So on a slow season, is it fair to say that you're making on average of about 4K? What would you say is like a fair average for the fast, like the better season that you have? So you even have more of a picture, but
Okay.
that'll just show you that that'll show more that you care. But it's like if you don't get that, that isn't like a deal breaker. At the end of the day, we're speaking about what's happening right now, right?
Okay. Okay, Daniel, like most people would be pretty content and happy with making 4K per month. Like, why is it that you want to make more money?
Well, I've been looking to buy a house for my kids, so I want to save up for that. And in order to do that, it would just pretty much take too long with the pace I'm going with right now.
Buy a house for your kids, you mentioned?
Yeah.
Okay. And like when you mentioned it would take too long, how long specifically?
Well, I mean, it probably would take around 10 years, something like that, maybe 7. I could pull it off if it goes well, but yeah.
Another advanced thing over here, he wants to buy a house for his kids. Of course, first of all, let's understand the pace that he's currently saving money on, and then let's understand the reason behind why he wants to buy the actual house. But first of all, let's understand like how is the saving up process looking like. So Daniel, like ideally, in an ideal world, when do you want to actually buy that house? I want to buy the house in the next 3 years. Okay, what's the price of the actual house that you want to buy? Like, what do you need to save up with the bare minimum so you can like put down a down payment or something like that so you can move into the actual house? I gotta save up 100K, for example, right? And that's where understanding he's making 4K right now. You should have understood. So how much is left for you after you pay all your expenses? Because then you get a gauge of like, okay, so you're saving up about on a good month, you're saving about 1K. On a worse month, you're saving about $500, right? Is it fair to keep an average of about $750? Because his income goes up and down sometimes and stuff. So that's where then you just calculate, okay, so how much do you have in your savings right now towards buying that house? And then you just do the math with the calculator. Like I always have the calculator. It's like, okay, so you ideally want to buy the house in the next 4 years. By the sounds of it, at the current pace, knowing the current actual savings that you have right now and knowing how much you're saving on a monthly basis, you would only be able to buy it in the next 10 years. So that's an 8-year difference. You see how that expands the fucking gap.
That's
And
a
then
lot of context. Yeah.
and then you're going to, okay, now you've got all this context. Okay, so like, what got you looking to, we can say, what got you looking to even buy that house for your kids in the first place? And what's wrong with the current place that you're living at? Like all those kind of things. So I want you to now run back with the actual, when he said a house, and just run it back with this type of like probing and all those kind of things. I want to see how you navigate that.
So like work out how much he's making, he's saving. So basically, okay. And you mentioned you're making around 4K a month, right? Like, how much are we actually left off with at the end of the month?
Yeah, I managed to save up around 1K on average.
Okay. And like for the house, like what, I don't know how to go about it. Like, should I ask like,
Yeah, it's like, and what's the required like amount? What amount? Like, what is the required amount for you to be able to move into the house? Basically, like, how much do you have to save up to be able to move into the actual house?
100,000.
what if they're like, I don't know? Because a lot of these guys have these goals, but they don't actually sit there and be specific on them.
Exactly. Well, if the person doesn't really know,
Have you thought about this? Or
if the person doesn't know, it's like, okay, like, you want to move into a house, but you don't even know when specifically, and you don't know how much would it cost. I'm sensing that, buying a house for your kids isn't really the biggest thing that you're trying to solve right now. Is that right? Okay. So help me understand here, like, what is truly the biggest thing for you then?
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good fucking way to go about it.
It's kind of like if you see that you hit like bedrock, and you're like, ah, shit, there's like, the person doesn't know it, doesn't like, you're just curious, okay, you have this goal, that's your biggest reason, but you don't even know the specifics of it. Why is that? Okay, is it fair to say that this isn't that big of a reason for you right now?
So you just always flip it back on them, always, like just mirroring it back.
Yeah. Try it again, Isaac.
Okay, man. So like 1K. So you're left off with 1K at the end of the month. Like, how much do you actually need to put down as a deposit to be able to move into the house?
I calculated 100,000. Like the most recent apartment I checked out was 100,000 deposit down payment.
Okay, so 100K deposit. And with where you're currently going at the moment, how long would it take you to actually get there?
8 years.
8 years. Okay.
Flip it into the frame of that, like, not how long would it take you, like at this current base, but like, when ideally do you want to already move into the house?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay,
Yeah.
so like, when ideally would you even want to move into the house?
I mean, it wasn't for me, by the way. Like, I don't want to move in. I want my kids to be able to move in, but I would want them to have it by next 4 years, ideally, as they're going to college in 2 years. And I want to get the house, like the apartment there in the city that they go to. So
You
I would
mentioned,
3 to 4 years max.
and well, you mentioned 3 to 4 years. Are you leaning more towards 3 or 4? It's a pretty big range, man.
I mean, ideally I would want it sooner, of course. 3 years would be amazing.
Okay, so you would want it in 3 years. And with our current pace at the moment, where we're going, like, how long would it actually take you to get there?
Do the maths yourself. Show them how long it would take them. And also understand how much does he have saved up right now, right? So it's like, okay, so he has about, for example, 20K saved up right now. He's saving about 1K a month. That will take him 80 actual months for him to save up to actually, get that house at his current pace. So what you do then is like, okay, 80 more months, divide that by 12. Shit, looks like with the current pace that you're going at, it will take about 6.5 years to actually move into the house. That's double the amount of time that you were expecting and that you ideally want.
So if you asked at the end of that, like, how would that sit with you?
Exactly. You can ask, like, okay, now when you hear the incongruency there, like, how does that make you feel?
Cooked. Fucking cooked.
Exactly.
Nah, I like that.
Or
Like,
you can say
you
when
just have so much context. It's like, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fire, bro.
Run it again, Isaac. I want to drill this in.
Okay, man. So like, okay, wait, but like, how would you calculate it?
How would I calculate it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, first off, of course, you now know how much he's saving on a monthly basis. Now, also, you understood when ideally he would want to move in. So that's in the next 3 years. Like, not move in, but like buy the house in the next 3 years. Okay, so I have a time frame. Saving 1K a month. He wants to do it in the next 3 years. He has to save 100K. How much do you currently have saved up? He'll give you an amount. Subtract that amount from the 100K, like subtract that from, like, take it away from the total. Oh, let's say you have about like 75 more, like say you have 75 more months, like till ideally you want to move in the next, ideally you want to move in the next 3 years, but you still will have to be saving for the next 75 months to even make that happen, right? Divide that by 12, that's like what, 5.5 years or something like that, right? So that's like how I would do the maths. So that's how I want you to try to also run it to see if that sticks with you.
Okay. And Daniel, like, how much do you currently have saved up put towards the house?
$20,000.
20,000. Okay. Okay, so you would realistically need around 80,000, right? And then, okay, that would be like what?
You divide by 12 because that's like how many months there are in a year. And it's actually a 1K I'm saving up right now. So it's 80 divided.
80 months. 80 divided by 12 is
6.6.
6. Okay, so after calculating it, right, it would take you 80 months, right, which is 6.6 years to actually move into the house. Like, after hearing that it would take you double the amount of time to finish.
Tiny bit detail. Tiny bit detail. That's double the time that you're projecting. Just put that into.
Yeah, like, after hearing that that's double the amount of time then you're projecting, how does that sit with you?
I mean, yeah, not too good.
Not too good? In what ways?
Yeah, I mean, it would be probably a little late because my kid's gonna move in into another apartment, paying rent, stuff like that, going to college. So I would definitely prefer prefer him to move into the one that I already paid for. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, it was just a thing that we've decided with my wife that we are going to do this for our kids. Like, we want to get them a good start in life, and I feel like as a dad, that's my duty to provide that for them.
Okay. And how many kids do you have?
I have two.
2. How old are they?
Yeah, so the biggest, like the bigger one is 21. He's moving into college, like he's going to college now. And I have a girl, she's only 17.
Okay. So by the time you actually can afford to move into that house, right, they won't even need it anymore. Like, fuck, I wouldn't know where to go from there.
What I'm thinking, bro, is like there's so many ways that we could go about this.
I know you
Honestly,
said example as a father.
the biggest one that I'm thinking is, like, first off, we're just getting clarity on, like, okay, so just for me to understand, like, what's truly wrong with them moving into their own place instead of instead of you buying them a place? Is it like just the fact that, you know, you and your wife discussed this and this is ideally what you want to do, or is there something behind that? And if the person, like, if he says like, oh yeah, like this is a thing that me and my wife we have been discussing this for a while. Okay, you've been discussing it for a while, so I'm curious, like, how long ago did you and your wife decide that this is the plan that the both of you want to do? Oh, it's about 6 years ago. Okay, and you mentioned you've been in the job for the past 10 years now. So for the past 6 years, you've been basically saving up money at the same pace. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. And have you been aware that continuing down this pace, you won't be able to actually, you know, you won't be actually able to actually move them into your own apartment? Yeah, I was aware. So I'm curious, why didn't you change anything about it? It's kind of like going straight into the actual ownership, right? But it's a lot of ways we can do. Like, it's like, you know, it's kind of like, as you mentioned, kind of like having this thing like, oh, you and your wife had a promise that happened like 6 years ago. And at the current pace that you're going, you won't be able to even fulfill that actual promise. I hope that kind of makes sense.
That makes sense. Like a lot. Like you've really expanded this one pain point so big. Like I'm curious, would you sell him on that? Or because I know he mentioned at the start of the call also work less as well.
I will be like, genuinely, you always have to sell the person on the biggest pain point, right? Work less, yeah, that's, you know, cool, right? That's like a thing that he wants. But the big thing here is like, oh, like you can just legit tie it off like that. Like, what I would do is like, I wouldn't even go into his past attempts. I will be honest. Because like, even when you ask, how does that sit with you? You always have to be reading the actual person. And as you can see, like even Daniel being a prostitute, he's like, that's not great. It's not really like, he actually has some like emotional weight behind it. It's like if a thing is actually emotionally important to the person, you'll see his emotions shift, and you'll see him actually change, like he changes tonality or changes cadence or something like that. Like you pick that up, and then you're like, you know, you just go straight for it. And then like what I would do is, as I mentioned, I would do the same thing that I just told you. And there's like understanding, okay, have you always been aware of this? Did you know that you were going on the path that, you know, wouldn't allow you to save up the money as quickly as you want to? And once Daniel says, oh yes, I've always been aware, now he's just taken ownership. He's always been aware. We got to get him to even more ownership. Talking about what you tried in the past, I'm just gonna say, okay, so knowing that you've been aware of this for the past 6 years, why haven't you changed anything? And then I was gonna say, like, oh yeah, it was this and this and this and that, like limiting belief. You get over that limiting belief. You tie down that the limiting belief is not something that's going to be stopping them, and then you ask, so after 6 years of not doing anything, not keeping the promises to your wife, what shifted now that now specifically you're looking to finally break the cycle of procrastination and you're looking to truly take action? Oh yeah, my wife, we had an argument with the wife, and wife said that I'm not keeping up with, you know, my promises and all those kind of things. And then dig deeper into that. I know I went into the weeds, like a lot of things. It's like, I'm just talking about how I would genuinely do it.
Do you always okay.
No, I don't want to, because I know that I'm probably just saying too many things at once.
No, bro, this is really good. I'm gonna go over this Fathom. Like, this role play in itself was very useful. I'm just trying to think, like, do you identity shift at all? Just curious.
I don't really know. I will be honest, I'm not really that familiar with identity shifting, to be honest. Like, my way of doing things is like,
Because that what you just said like ties in really well for like that guy. Okay, like what do you always ask them, okay, like why now after a reframe?
whenever I tie down their limiting belief, in a sense, like in this context especially, what I like to do is like always, you know, uncover their limiting belief, dig deeper into that, understand, you know, where it's coming from, how it's been affecting him, all those kind of things. And then I want to make sure that the person is over that limiting belief. So what I do is like, So have you gotten to the point where you're no longer willing to let fear of failure hold you back from actually, from actually making more money so that you can buy the apartment for your kids? Yes, I have. Okay, why?
Yeah, ask that.
Oh, and then you're going to say, okay, so after all of this time of letting fear of failure hold you back, just not keeping your promises to your wife and not doing anything to change, not doing anything about it to actually change it, what shifted recently that now you're no longer willing to let fear of failure hold you back and that you're willing to take action if you are? And then the person say like, oh, something happened recently, or I had an argument with my wife, I had a thought. Because think about it like this: when a person books in a call, it's not like one day they just wake up and think like, oh shoot, I want to start an online business, right? It's typically the thing of something actually prompted them to do this. It's like, a billiard ball, in order for it to move, there has to be something that hits it and moves it. So in order for a person to decide to book in a call and start doing a business model, it's not like you wake up in the morning, you just decide that that's something that you want to do now. Typically something prompts you to do that, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm getting, okay, like even when you think about it, you had this fear of failure for the past 6 years holding you back. How is this time going to be different? What happened that this time it's not going to hold you back, that you're no longer willing to let it hold you back?
And you're looking for a specific point in time, or a specific event.
It's like,
there's one question that's like,
we want to get a specific point in time or a specific thing, but a lot of times, like, people will rationalize. I will be honest. It's like, oh yeah, nothing really happened. It really depends on the prospect. I will be honest. If the prospect has been taking action before, like he has been trying different business models and stuff, the shifting moment, it might not be that huge shifting moment when he wake up one day, his wife was crying and blah, blah. It just might be like, oh, you know what? I just fully decided that right now I want to do it. Okay, and after 2 years of not doing it, what now made you decide that? I'll be honest, I just saw my colleagues at work being unhappy and I want to change my life. Change your life. And what about your colleagues made you realize that? And you just kind of dig deeper into that. I'm going a bit too far. I'm going a bit too much into the weeds. But this is how I think on calls. Basically, it's like fucking
there's times
a bit too much. I think.
Yeah, I do use that. I do use that way of questioning only to some people. There's a question I asked where I was like, okay, was there a specific point in time when you realized that your job was actually doing more damage than good? And then it was like, yeah, and then blah, 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 blah. And it just created so much urgency. But for some people, they really, I would just okay, reframe them, then get them to okay, that fear, cost of inaction it, and then get them to build out, okay, because they already know what actions and beliefs and decisions they need to start making to get to where they need to be. So that's the kind of identity shift, and I'll future pace that to show them, okay, what would life be like if you actually started making those decisions?
Because I'm personally not a big fan of future pacing, right? But if you've gathered a lot of pain and stuff, and you understand their limiting behavior, and they're the fact that they're willing to overcome their limiting behavior, bringing in something like you just mentioned right now in terms okay, so as you mentioned right now, you've been experiencing XYZ that has been caused by the fear of failure that you've been letting control your actions. So what would life, because now you're willing to overcome that fear of failure, how is life going to look like if you genuinely do overcome that fear of failure? And I kind of doing it the way that you do. I think that will be brilliant, honestly.
Yeah, not for everyone I do it, but I find the cost of inaction is very powerful because people, the fear may hold them back, but if they know that if they hold on to the fear, then it's going to cause them more troubles later on down the line, then they typically will change their behaviors. But I found that cost of inaction again just doesn't really land on a lot of people when it comes to BizOp.
No, it has to be really like contextual, like really, really contextual.
Yeah. Wait, can you describe in what ways you mean by contextual?
Like if you have a high emotional buy-in, like you actually understood the pain really, really well, the actions that the person has been taking or hasn't been taking, you have full clarity of that, then like asking an actual consequence question, it makes sense. But if you're like, you just understand like the surface level of their situation, you're like, oh, what happens if, what happens if nothing changes? The person's gonna be like, well, I guess I'll stay in the same situation. And he'll just say that because you didn't even like hold the mirror up in terms of gathering all the pain, gathering all the data, and showing them what's really going on. Once you hold that in front of them and you ask, what happens if nothing changes? Shoot, at this rate, I haven't been able to save up for, not able to save for the apartment. 3 years come around when I have to actually buy the apartment for my kids and I won't have the money for it. Okay, and what happens then? It means that the promise that I made for my wife, it was broken. And what's wrong with breaking that promise? Oh, I mean, my wife, she's like the person that I love dearly, and I don't want to disappoint her. And does she know that like at the current pace she wouldn't be able to save up for the actual apartment? No, she doesn't. See? It's like, oh, you can just like a lot of layers that you can go deeper and deeper and deeper, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the biggest thing for me is like not getting enough data, not getting enough pain at the start of the call.
Yeah. I think like at the start, just like gather as much data and pain, but I don't want you to be like stuck in your head and like, oh, I have to gather all like a bunch of data and all those kind of things. Of course, you have to gather data, but gather data about the things that truly matter to the person the most. And you will truly sense the thing that matters to the person the most by seeing how their emotions shift when you're talking about that topic.
Mm-hmm.
Is their tonality changing? Are they just like looking at you like rambling all around in the chair because they're nervous? Are they like scratching their head constantly, just like sitting like this, right? It's like these little things. But also, if you just dig deeper and you see that, okay, it doesn't really seem like it's something that the person's bothered about, just ask. I will be honest,
Just
Daniel.
call it out.
We've been talking about, you wanting to buy your kids a house, but by the sounds of it, it doesn't really seem like it's the biggest thing for you right now that you're looking to solve. Or am I reading you wrong? Oh yeah, when I think about it, it probably isn't. Okay, so just to help me understand, like what is truly the biggest thing that's driving you to do this right now? Oh yeah, it's this, and then you dig deeper into that, right?
Mm.
Yeah, I know it's fucking a lot, especially when everything's just kind of like all over the place. It's not structured. It can be confusing and stuff.
It's very valuable. Yeah.
Because like the big thing that I don't want you to do is just like, you got all this information, you got all these ways on how you could be going around things. The biggest thing, like I don't want you to be all up in your head about it, and I don't want you to overwhelm yourself. Because with you trying to cram a bunch of things down your throat and trying to be on implementation mode instead of being present on calls, that'll really help you, like they'll really make sure that you lose deals, right? Train consciously on role plays with people, but implement unconsciously. Where it just like comes naturally, because at the end of the day, your conscious has to be focused on the person on the call, and you have to be present, picking up on things, right? But these kind of like things that come through like continuous like practice and just mastery overall. I was like for 2 months straight, I reviewed a call a day, and not just like flick through it. I fucking downloaded the whole transcript. If you genuinely want to commit to mastery with sales and all those kind of things, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Isaac?
Good. I'm just trying to think of um, like what I should do.
How I would recommend you do things is legit a week, find one biggest thing that you want to be focusing on. And a week from there, audit yourself. Okay, am I getting better at digging deeper? If not, you don't look for some new way, like, or some new thing to implement. You just keep on drilling the main thing in till you actually feel like, okay, now I've gotten better at this. Let me move on to like doing something different. Okay, let me now talk about challenging. Like, let me just drill in challenging their limiting beliefs for a week. Because at the end of the day, remember that your calls don't have to be perfect in order for you to close the person. That's an important thing, right? So, yeah, always remember that too.